Embark on your journey, the path you must take. Though hate may surround you, it's not your fate to forsake. Co-creating your destiny in the dance of time. The guiding light within you ignites the sublime. It is the light, the guiding light from the heart and soul. Don't lose control. Let it be the light, shining bright, unlocking potential beyond belief, taking flight. In the depths of your being, the truth resides. Embrace your power, let your spirit rise. With every step forward, you transcend the expanded conscious community we commend. Through trials and triumphs, your soul evolves in the symphony of life, where every note resolves. Listen to the whispers of your inner voice. In unity and love, let your heart rejoice. It is the light, the guiding light from the heart and soul. Don't lose control. Let it be the light, shining bright, unlocking potential beyond belief, taking flight. It is the light, the guiding light from the heart and soul. Don't lose control. Let it be the light, shining bright, unlocking potential beyond belief, taking flight. As we gather together in this sacred space, embracing transformation with grace. Life coach Malachi leads the way in unlocking potential day by day. Embracing transformation with grace. Life coach Malachi leads the way in unlocking potential day by day.
I really don't want to do it. Oh wow, it's not check. Okay, and now you can hear it, of course, but I don't want to do that. That is so wicked. StreamYard is just well, for some reason StreamYard is just kicking my audio out. Like, I don't know why you want to do that. I wouldn't do that to you. Like, you should just be nice. Like, you can work. You always worked, and now you just don't want to work for me? This is the thing about going live, y'all. Is sometimes you might struggle. You might struggle with a little bit of issues, but we just keep on moving, right? Keep it moving. I hope y'all out there, cheering me on. Cheer me on. It's a new issue. Honestly, this is brand spanking new issue that I've never have ever dealt with is it sound okay? I mean, it shouldn't sound really spacey. It's probably better like this. Yeah, I don't like it. I'm using that's coming through my cell phone. I seen that I can put my cell phone down there. And God knows I don't want to use my cell phone. Now that I think about it, um, I don't know if I have used my whole setup since I've updated my computer. There was a big Mac update. And so I'm thinking, I bet you there's something up with the update because my computer is not recognizing my audio at all. And we could sit here and do it like this if we wanted to. Dear, you know, I didn't never think that I would need to do a troubleshooting of this. Like, I didn't think I would have this particular issue. That's weird. I had an audio issue with StreamYard last week, and I thought it was just me. Anybody ever do that? You just be like, "Oh, you messed up." And now here we are with the same thing going on. I just want y'all to make sure y'all bear with me, right? And not just be like, "Oh, let's bail out." Um, in the meantime, what we could do is we can go ahead and put Deidre on so she can holla at y'all.
Hey everybody. Haven't seen y'all in a while. I'm hoping my little setup is working. Got my little laptop set up over here. Can you hear me
It
okay?
sounds good.
Okay, good. Okay. Greetings everybody. ECC family, let's go ahead and give a shout out to everybody while coach works on technical issues because it wouldn't be an episode of Expanded Consciousness where we're talking about anything related to CDP without tech issues because that was the name of the game back in the day. So let's go ahead and give a shout out to some people in the building. Give me a second. We got Mother Gwen in the building. So YouTube has done a thing now where you're going by your username, not by your name. So this is going to prove how well I know everybody in the YouTube sphere. Mother Gwen, it's good to see you. Hugh, it's very good to see you. Let's see. Miss Dolores, good to see you. Let me go up. Let's start up here. We got Tia's in the building. And Sasha's moving my camera. Stop, Sasha. We got Holly in the building. Good to see you. And then I think I saw Phyllis. Phyllis is in the building. Thank you for always being a faithful watcher and subscriber. And be careful on the road because you're always traveling. So be safe. Lindy, you were here early, and early to be early is on time in my book. So it's good to see you. And just while Coach is getting everything ready, I just want to just give whole space and say thank you to the Expanded Consciousness community. Oh, Mother White, can't forget Mother White. Oh, hi Tanisha. And I saw Mother White comment earlier. Good to see you, Mother White. I just want to thank everybody for their thoughts and everything during this challenging time that I'm dealing with. Just thank you. Thank you to the Expanded Consciousness community for being community. And thank you to my brother Malachi for just, kind of being a shoulder to lean on and just be a support. So I appreciate it. Thank you. And let's see. Thank our brother. I think Malachi is still working through his issues with the update. Let's see. Oh, okay, Tanisha, this is your first time visiting. Well, welcome. We hope you'll come back. We're here every Thursday. Every Thursday, 8:30 Central, 9:30 Eastern. And Sasha, my cat Sasha, so I'm going to let her say hi because it wouldn't be an episode of Expanded Consciousness without Sasha messing with the camera. Say hi, Sasha. Now say goodbye. Now you want to go to sleep. You wanted to be on the camera. Now it's time to go. Okay? No messing with mommy's camera. Thank you.
Oh, I didn't remember. Hold on. Let's see. Can you hear me?
Yep. I can hear you.
You could probably hear me through my
Is it through your iPhone still?
That's just coming through my iPhone. Yeah. Hi.
Let me go on mute so you won't hear Sasha.
Tanisha. So that is such a cool story with Tanisha. I think it was just online, and we got a connection online, and it was a real connection. It was a real connection. Like we had so many different things in common. Of course, Bishop, I think, was in common, which was real cool. But anyways, I'm gonna try. Honestly, I think this issue is actually with StreamYard. Real quick, are you using your microphone with your?
I don't even have my microphone hooked up, so I'm just using my laptop.
So you're using your one on your built into the laptop.
Yeah, just my laptop. Yep.
Mine's
so you think it's tied into the StreamYard update?
Either the StreamYard update or
the iPhone update or the Apple update.
Yeah, because it's not even working with my built-in microphone.
Wow, that is different. Because I'm using all my built-in stuff tonight. And we can't hear you. Yeah, it's back to not hearing you. Is it if you're connected to your, like with me with my iPhone and my Mac, sometimes it'll try to connect to it'll switch and try to connect to the other. Is it trying to connect on your iPhone instead?
No, I'm connecting it to my phone because
that's the only way it's working.
That's the only way. I can believe it. It's the only way it's working.
That's amazing.
Typically, it would work with at least the computer, the built-in computer mic, but Okay.
Okay. Well,
Um.
thank you.
Anyways, I mean, we got some sound. I'm thankful that we got
I
some
mean, we
sound.
can hear you clear. You are clear. I know it's not your optimal boom mic setup, but
Yeah. Well, I'll have to just do some little janky something like this, so I know that at least my voice is coming there. That should be pretty decent. Is it okay if it sounds okay? Just let me know that it sounds okay. Okay. People are saying they can hear me. All right. That's the show. See y'all. Woo! I was working on this so much too. And so, anyways, make sure we're still gonna keep it rolling, keep it moving. I'll deal with that. I'll deal with the issue later. I'm grateful and I'm glad this phone started working so that we can keep on going. You know, um, sometime in life, most of the time in life, you're going to have obstacles and you're going to have challenges and you're going to have things that mess up and go wrong. You're going to have things that are supposed to work and they end up not working. And it really comes down to what are you going to do as you go through, right? What are you going to do? You could give up, you can give in, or you could just keep it moving, right? There are a lot of times I'm telling you right now that you are going to have to keep it moving, especially at a time like in this moment. And let me tell you something. Let me tell you something about keeping it moving. I'm gonna say this whenever I say you got to keep it moving. The thing is now more than ever, now more than ever, is a time that not only that we've been through things before. We've been through situations before. But the reason why I say now more than ever, I'll say this. It seems as though the energy of negativity and the energy of things that try to work against you, um, it's like it's almost like it comes from all different angles. Even when you look at like people dealing with the situation with governments, you're dealing with situations with insurance. You're dealing in a situation with how much finances you have. And let me hear. I'm serious. There's a pivot happening right now on this stream. We're gonna watch some things from Bishop. Ever. This is still working. Yeah, it's still working. Keep monitoring it. Um, More than ever, right? It's like our energy of who we are and what we desire. It's almost like we've been living life and we've been doing the same thing for so long. Now consciousness is shifting and we're becoming super, like way more aware. Like AI is just another version of an awareness of who we are. And we could kind of get nervous and kind of get scared about like what is it, what are we doing, what's going on, and there's reasons that you can be scared, there's reasons that you could be nervous, there's reasons out there that you might actually want to check 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 things out and make sure it's like, wait a minute, what's going on here. But I'm here to tell you, I promise you, now more than ever is a time that it's not only that we might experience or go through some things, but I'm here to tell you we're finding out that you can have levels of transformation, you can have levels of shifting who you are, you could shift the energy. Matter of fact, you better. I'm gonna tell you better start looking at transformation and you better start looking at this thing that we're talking about. My I see what's happening. I'm gonna have to my phone is resetting and it's locking. Um, we'll figure I will figure this audio issue out. But I'm just here to tell you, I promise you, now more than ever, you have to learn how to shift. You got to learn how to shift who you are. You got to learn how to shift your feelings. You have to learn how to feel, right? What you're feeling, you got to learn how to feel it. And then you got to learn how to check your thoughts and check how you're, because you know what? This thing about negativity and these things in life, I'm just so adamant right now about this, is like the negativity of life is so addictive. Like the problems that you have, your body wants to keep some of that. The nervous system is like harboring and keeping some of that. And you don't want, and it doesn't want you to let the situations or things go. And therefore you just live in that, that realm, you live in that panic, right? The whole thing wants to keep you locked into issues. And then what happens is, but because you want to keep it real, I want to be real, I want to keep it real. What is really real? Like, we only know what is really real as we are experience what is really real and what we believe is real until we move past it. And then once we move past it, once we move past situations in life, they become past situations. We're still in the present. You got to learn. I'm telling you, you got to learn right now more than ever that you got to learn how to shift who you are. Because if you don't learn how to shift who you are, this life is going to get, things are going to get a little bit more difficult based on what you are hearing. Things are going to get more difficult based on what other people are experiencing. And you can join that party, or you can actually learn how to not join that party and learn how to elevate who you are and learn how to elevate your the understanding, right? This is not a game. You think it's a game, but this is not a game in the sense that deconstructing your life and deconstructing from where you've been and moving and questioning a lot of our experiences that we have had in the things of the church. But now we're all coming to the knowledge of the truth. Now we're all being able to experience and being able to say, you know what? I might have all my books and all my different things that I had when I would try to study the Bible. But now you have other tools. Because when you were studying a lot of that, you can kind of study on your own and get some kind of knowledge, but you might need a little guidance and a little assistance and a little help at times, right? To make sure that you're not just studying the same thing. I heard somebody say, it was on Kirk Franklin's show, and this guy was on there, and he was talking to Blueface, was having a conversation on there. Like, I guess the guy's his name is okay. My phone wants to. She was like, "Listen, dude, I'm just telling you that your battery low. And you sitting here being you sit here acting like, you know what I mean? Like you know what's best for me." Masters. There's a guy with his last name is Masters, an actor or something. I don't know. But he's not even a Christian like that, like a person that is known as, this is a person, he's known from the Christian circles and spaces in Black church. He's just a guy that's talking about what grandma said and things of that nature, and he sit there and Blueface was actually having a conversation about how he feel about the scriptures and how he feels about the Bible and how he feels. And he had some Christ consciousness kind of things to say. And this guy turned around and he was like, "Have you read your Bible?" He said, "Yeah, I read my Bible. I've read it before and read it through and through." And this guy turns to him and he says, "Well, read it again." read it again. Like, in other words, read it until you find, so you read your Bible until you find, read your Bible until you begin to speak the same way I'm speaking. Read your Bible until you begin to think how I'm thinking. I want you to read your Bible until you can actually be on the same page as me. It's ignorant. You'll never be on the same, for the most part, you'll never be on the same page with someone with scripture or understanding the Bible from a theological perspective. Now, from a layperson perspective, you guys can all somewhat agree with certain elements. Most of it is tradition. But from a theological perspective, theologians like don't get into a room when you have some from various schools, Oxford and Princeton, and I listen to some way deep stuff. And those guys don't sit back and fully agree. I'll listen to Sam Harris and Jordan Peterson, an atheist and a atheist agnostic and a more of a classical, traditional fundamentalist Christian, probably more evangelical leaning, but they'll have a conversation. And most people are not ready to actually have a true dialogue about scripture and about text, about what would I say, the mechanisms of philosophy. Theology is a form of philosophy. It's not a form of science. That's one thing that people get confused. This man came to me with this one day here recently. I'm sorry, this is deviated, this situation. And this man came to me and he hit me with this. This is a different trick. And he hit me and he showed me this and he says, which one of these is bigger? Which one of these are bigger? And it's like, well, first of all, you got to know, sir, that this trick is not necessarily going to work on me. So I was like, well, let me tell you, sir, I know that those things are the same size. Right? But if you turn and you look at the back of this, it has on here, this has the instructions on what to do. Hold both cards curved towards the right. One looks bigger. And our eyes, and basically, you are to say this with these. Our eyes are easily fooled. Would you sell your eyes for 20 million? No sane person would. They're priceless. Yet Jesus taught that your eyes are worthless compared to your soul's value. Well, that's an interpretation of Mark that is completely, totally like just obliterated to make it work for this context. Nothing is important as your salvation. So do you think you'll go to heaven? Jesus, like this is so manipulative. So do you think you'll go to heaven? Examine yourself by the 10 commandments. How many lies have you told in your life? Another one, there's so many fallacies and so many just manipulative tactics that has nothing to do with, even if I was a bona fide, what would I say? I still wouldn't be a classical Christian, but if I was a bona fide Christian, like I still would see this as manipulation, trying to get people to believe what you believe. Commandments. How many lies have you told? Have you ever stolen, committed adultery? Like, none of this is your business, sir. Like, have you? Or murdered someone? Like, who asked somebody a question like that? Have you loved God above all else? Like, this is a track. And then it goes on to say, you'll be guilty on judgment day and therefore end up in a terrible place called hell. But God says he's not willing that any should perish, Peter. He loves sinners so much that I don't get this part. He loves sinners so much that he made a way for them to be forgiven and go to heaven. You know, I mean, like I'm just, you know, whenever this man had this thing, and I just was like, oh, cool. Can I have it? And I was like, that's cool. He's like, sure, go ahead. Because I straight up told him, I was like, yeah, well, you know, I'm good. I worked with Bishop Carlton Pearson, and so I'm into what I would say is something that I consider more expanded, something that I consider a bit more conscious, something that I consider a bit more wholesome, something I consider that wouldn't be necessarily the message of the day. Like you're just taking, this is a straight manipulation of taking. It's like, can you grow any form of an organization if you want to lead with fear, you want to lead with guilt, and you want to lead with shame? That can get you money, right? It's like that's one big reason why we have a church on every block, is because no taxes, you got a nice tool that you can use to manipulate people, and the other flip side of it, you get to have a beautiful, wonderful community. And all of us crave community. All of us crave to have love in our life. All of us crave to want to connect, right, to other people. And we've had this message, right? We've had this message for years, years and years. And I don't think we get enough of it. And there's a few things before I show what I'm going to show. Look at this is a short one, but look at this short clip. This is a man from the Church of God in Christ. And I don't give a lot of people any time, honestly. I really don't. I try not to give any people. But this man is who he is, and he uses his shock and awe and he's kind of like a Donald Trump, and I think he likes Donald Trump. But he uses the shock and awe and his ability to say, I'm here and God has sent me, right? Basically, I'm God, shut up, move, sit down. Some radio station captured it and put it. And you got to imagine, this has 84,000 views, right? 84,000. And he has just a statement that doesn't make sense.
Carlton could have got healed had he repented, but he held to his disbelief even on his deathbed. You know what you saw? I'll talk about it. You know what you saw? You saw judgment.
Carlton held to his belief even on his deathbed. And what you saw was judgment, because he could have been healed. Just from a surface level, non-science, just a surface level, you have people out here putting out statements like this. And this is what I'm telling you, you got to be able to pay attention, listen, because there's people listening to other individual people, right? And this person, if you look at him and you look at his demeanor and his face and everything else, he is very self-righteous and he's very into what he's saying, and he wants to say something very shocking because it's part of the theater, because he just said that basically you can get healed from something if you don't hold to the beliefs that I have. That means that every person that has ever walked the earth, right, that has ever had any sickness, there's kids that he's basically saying that could get healed, but yet though, you know, this right here is a prime example of the reason why everyone needs to be paying attention to the buffoonery, right? To the blatant ignorance. And it's like, it's not just basic ignorance. This is not a deep theological debate, right? And I'm just showing, of course, we can get these particular
Carlton
things
could have got healed.
over and over again. We can see various videos of people gaining traction, right, for their ideas or their ideas, essentially, on their truths, making you or wanting you to believe, right? So tonight, I wanted to show, before any of these issues, but I wanted to show a few clips of Bishop that I think are important, and there's a reason why I believe that some of these things are important. If I go back, I wanted to double check and make sure that I have my here. States of consciousness. States of consciousness. When you think about states of consciousness, right? I want you to no longer think about consciousness also as in being like just our awareness. That's one thing we can break it down consciousness to be, is awareness, right? That's one factor of us to be aware of a state of where we are, a state of being, a state of being able to listen, right? So when we expand our consciousness, or when we think about our consciousness, or when we what you're doing is, your thoughts are not consciousness. It is a part of it, right? Consciousness is fundamental. Consciousness just is. What I mean by that, it's like the air you breathe. It's like the air you breathe, but still not scientifically able to tap into that system fully, because the only way we can tap into the full state of consciousness, or states of consciousness, is through the human essence, right? It's something that is inside of us so deeply, and so we're so connected to this realm, right? The closest that we have gotten to understand the states of consciousness and tapping into a field, F-I-E-L-D, a field, is the quantum field. The quantum field. The quantum field is how we are understanding the object and the viewer. I'm the viewer, and I'm here, and you are there, and we are together. We are together, and we are not together, but we have used technology. And the way we have arrived to this technology is through understanding our awareness and our states of consciousness. And as we learn to go deeper into ourselves and actually rest in our thoughts, rest in our feelings, we begin to tap in and tune into something a little deeper, something a little bit wider, something a little bit mystery or mysterious, something a little bit mystical. That means that in the paranormal, that means that we might not have all the answers, You may not have all the answers, but we can know that we have the ability to tap in and tune in. We have the ability to tap in, tune in, and turn on, right? You want to tap in, tune in, turn on. We don't meditate. I heard the other day somebody was talking about how they were taught not to meditate because it will open up the mind for demonic activity. When a blanket mind, hear me out, a blanket mind doesn't need, right? It don't need emptiness for demonic activity. It doesn't need an empty shell for demonic activity. It needs you confused. It needs you the distracted. It needs you distracted. And I would say demonic meaning distraction, right? Something with ill intent, not just some hovering spirit that says, I want to get you or kill you. It's something that is more of an ill intent, something that wants to pull you away from who you really, 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 really deeply are. It's a distraction, right? And as we distract you and make you feel like, even if we want to speak on healing, like healing is only accepted through one way, which is through your belief in Christianity is your way of healing. We know unequivocally, without a shadow of a doubt, that that is absolutely untrue. We wouldn't have a lot of our modern technologies if we had to sit back and think about how we would do something as Christians versus how we would do something as humans. Because my thing is, what level of Christianity are you speaking of? What level of or what denomination? We can go into the weeds about this. Bishop was moving from Pentecost and a feeling of connected, basically of, Pentecostalism and holiness was the edge of fundamentalist Christianity. It was edgy. Hear me out. What you are already doing, if you are a fundamentalist, holiness, Pentecostal Christian, you are already on the edge of what we would call the grand scheme of schema. When I say scheme, I'm more analytical. We scheme from schematics. Schematics is how something is broken down through each layer in each part, right? So the schematics, the whole schema of Christendom, how it came from, basically it is a Jewish or Judaism, Judaism 2.0, right? There's a lot of great things in Judaism and the Kabbalah, which I think Neville Goddard's work and Abdullah. There's a lot of great mystery within it. And so when you really think about, how we got here, and I'm not talking about here on planet Earth, I'm talking about here in these conversations. I don't know why my camera is looking so dark. I don't like it to look that dark. But as we are here in these conversations and how we arrived, and you come here and creeping up on expanded consciousness, you come in here listening and tapping into what I got to say on expanded consciousness. Most of you have no idea what it really is. You'll get it confused with New Age and get it confused with from New Age to pagan and to Wiccan and to all these other different things. You get it all confused. Expanded consciousness is not a actual spiritual thing. it involves that, but it's not just that expansion or the expanded of our awareness of consciousness has more to do with science and has more to do with the mysteries of life and how we arrived and how we can actually have the ability to ask questions, have the ability to sit back and be like, wait a minute, and listen. When it comes to expanded consciousness, like, you're going to sit back and you're going to be like, hold up, I'm sick of being broke, I'm sick of being busted, I'm sick of being sick, I'm tired of going to the church and doing the same things over and over and over and over again. The songs are good, right? The community's good, but this hellfire and brimstone, and I'm not going to be able to, I have to do everything that you say, and this is how it's going to work. But yet, though, I can look over here and see that most billionaires in America are totally, completely, 100% non-Christian, and they living just fine for some reason. Come on. This is a few unlikely posts that you would run into from Bishop, but we're going to listen to one of the things is some of the early stuff when it comes to Bishop, some of his early stuff, like, not that the latest stuff is not good, but some of this early stuff is when he was at his, what would I say? This was him when he was at the cusp of expanded consciousness, right? So in 2005, whenever Zusa was leaving and he was moving from Azusa into moving to inclusion. Now, don't get it twisted. He was very inclusive, and he still liked to operate in an inclusive kind of mindset. He knew he would be accepted in the circles and spaces as he would do inclusion. He personally told me that he didn't necessarily set out to write the gospel of inclusion as a theological book to write because this is his theology. That's what ended up happening, but that's what it was. He said, I was going out and I was talking and trying to explain people at least this level of why I don't necessarily believe the way I used to believe. There's something that I know, and I know that God is not what I used to believe. And as you know the story, he goes to have a conversation with the Council of Bishops of Black churches. It wasn't even like when Bishop was going to actually be called a heretic. It wasn't like he was going to an ecumenical council in the Vatican or some shit. It wasn't like he was about to go to, like, you know what I mean, Princeton or something, you know what I mean, and have a conversation with everybody and to let them know that, you know, what he felt. It was just some people, right? Bishops, the Council of Black Bishops, which is cool. I mean, I think it's worthwhile. But he basically said this. Bishop said, the book was something that just allowed me to put it down on what I was thinking, what I was feeling. Because you don't hear him talk about the second book. God is not a Christian, Jew, blah, 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 which is different than inclusion. That's the gospel of inclusion, how he basically is trying to make it where this works for Christians. based on kind of a Unitarian theological kind of perspective, if you will. That's the closest thing you can get. But the gospel inclusion was for Christians to make it work for Christians. God is not a Christian, Jew, Hindu. That's a whole different movement. Most people don't talk about God is not a Christian, Jew, basically, right? His next book technically would have been, and he talked about it a lot, is You're Not in Trouble, You're in Transition. He was moving more, and this was from 2005, 2006 and 7 and 8. By the time he started his videos in 2010 and 11, he had moved completely into stream of consciousness or streaming consciousness. He had moved into a space that was even outside of gospel of inclusion and God is not a Christian. He started moving into a space of understanding the conscious or the co-science, as he would say. Take adventure and listen to some of these powerful words.
Again, to negotiate, to present or represent in understandable terms. Wouldn't you like to understand you, or to have a better understanding of you? To understand the sense or intent of reality or of a thing in your life? We want to create new relationships with an interpretation of the circumstances, the circumference, to stand or stay or stare around, circumstance, circumstare, circumstay. You're not going to be intimidated by that which surrounds you. Family, relationships, jobs, education, this temporal world we live in. So we're going to have a panoramic rather than a partial or prejudicial or prejudiced view of our reality. To have a panoramic. Pan is the Hebrew word for head. Pan as that which turns in Hebrew. Panoramic, that which has a 360-degree view. Again, I said earlier, you're going to have, it's like having eyes in the back of your head. You're going to know stuff. Nobody's going to have to tell you about yourself, about your relationships, your spouse, your partner, your children. You're going to just know. Scripture says they shall all know me. They won't need a teacher. That was a prophetic word spoken, I think 500 to 700 years before Jesus ever walked the earth. They will all know me. They won't need a teacher. In fact, I don't even consider myself a teacher. I consider myself a reminder. I'm reminding you of what you really already know, but have forgotten. We're going to help eradicate the amnesia. And you're going to remember that you agreed to come here pre-incarnately, that you're right on time, right on target, and you didn't accidentally happen to be here tonight. This was ordained in the universe by God, or the gods, the divinities. Let us make man in our image and our likeness. There's a plurality of consciousness that comes together as one, expressing itself in you, to you, through you, and as you. We got about 20 more minutes. I'm loving this. And I hope you'll listen. Now, you're going to have to listen again and again and again, because we're going to learn and grow together. These are new terms, new terminologies, new etymology, and you're going to learn it all. So the circumstances of your life, to create a new relationship with an interpretation of your overall being, with overall beingness, consciousness, knowing, cognizance, direct cognition, to know directly or correctly and inwardly who you are, who you aren't, what is and what isn't, to perceive directly and correctly and inwardly. Consciousness and or knowing is not a mind thing. It is a mysterious or mystical cognition, a nuance, an ambiance that's new. It is what I call the phonetics, the sounds and echoes of the soul, the phonics of being.
Y'all need it. You hear that? Did you hear that?
Sounds, phonics means sounds, the sounds and certainties of spirit, the phonetics of soul, the phonics of being, the sounds and certainties of spirit. I wrote some of this down just before I came to you live tonight. I was contemplating and meditating on what we're going to present. And these words begin to come to me. These phraseologies, the way the sentences are structured, came to me fresh out of the universe from the God that I expresses itself as me.
From the God, listen, this is so expanded. This is far beyond. This was like 2010 and 2011. From the God that expresses as me. Listen, the pit, it shifted in 2010. Although Bishop really started still hanging around the circles and the churches that really dug and dig into inclusion, he still was an inclusive person. It's easier to go to a church and talk about inclusion and being inclusive of God that they want to have than it is to actually come back and say this.
Phonetics, the sounds and echoes of the soul, the phonics of being, the sounds, phonics means sounds, the sounds and certainties of spirit, the phonetics of soul, the phonics of being, the sounds and certainties of spirit. I wrote some of this down just before I came to you live tonight. I was contemplating and meditating on what we're going to present. And these words begin to come to me. These phraseologies, the way the sentences are structured, came to me fresh out of the universe from the God that I expresses itself as me.
From the God that expresses itself as me. From the God which expresses itself as me. From the God, from the ethers that comes through the filter, the brain, the mind, through the consciousness that expresses itself as you. Contemplating and meditating and in the essence and spirit. See, he was in the essence and spirit and the cusp of what was happening in his life here. This would be almost the 20 years, when he done this for 20 years, this is the foundation of his expanded conscious movement.
So a circumstance or a circumference, that's the perimeter of a circle. All the way around. Suddenly, you're going to know all the way around. You're not going to have to do a lot of arguing and debating. It can be very debilitating. You're just going to know. Just know. This is what you're supposed to do. This is what you're supposed to be. This is what you're supposed to say. This is where you're supposed to go. Are you ready for that? Because this reality has already been laying in you dormant. In the human race for thousands of years.
Yes.
Throughout the other signs of the zodiac. The word zodiac comes from the Greek word zao.
Yes.
Life. Zoe. Life. The animation or the animal sentient of consciousness. The part that lives and moves and possesses its being.
Yes.
What do you think about that? So, number 4, we're going to see what may have hindered or obstructed or limited you in the past in a completely new light. What has hindered you? What's working for you?
What's not working for you?
What's working on you?
Yeah.
What's working as you? And what do you perceive as working against you?
There you go.
Or what's not working for you?
What do you perceive as working against you? Y'all need to, those things right there, man, I'm telling you, he's saying this is where you can go or where you are, where we have in us. This is where he did not get a chance to actually, let's go there and how we're going to go there. This is the stuff that we're going to be doing in this retreat, limited to 10 to 15 people. And that is going to be working on these things, that this transformation, right? True transformation, not just a word, right? To go from one form to another. I had this thing. It was, I deal with transpersonal coaching, transpersonal psychology. That's one of the bases of the expanded consciousness. And what I'm building is a transpersonal experience, meaning that we have the science and we have the spirit, but we want to actually have some kind of transition, right? We don't have a transition in this transformation. What's transformation if we don't have a transition? In a car, we have a transmission. Why do you have a transmission? Because all of the power of an engine going right to the tires, if you don't have a transmission, it will actually sever the drivetrain because of the fact that the gears, the engine says I can go from 0 to 100 instantly. But the revolutions per minute, how fast have your RPMs? You're in a car, you see it says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 1,000 RPMs, 2,000 RPMs, and so on. That's how many times? That's 1,000 times that your drivetrain is going 1,000 times per minute, I believe. Or is it per second? RPMs, revolutions per minute, 1,000. Right? So if you're going 8,000 times per minute, that engine is like, why does it have to have a transmission? Because it has to build up in stages to get to that actual thrust. Check this out. Follow me. This is going to blow your mind. In an electric car, you don't have to have the stages, right, for going from spinning the engine or the motors. There's no drive shaft. The motor is connected directly to the tire. So you have a motor on each tire if you have a dual engine or dual motor Tesla, or a dual motor, electric car. That means you have a motor on each thing. There's no transmission. There's no need to transform the energy from one stage to another, but for one reason. Is your body, first of all, the tires has to get grip in order to go from 0 to 100. If they don't get any grip, they're going to pill out. Once the tires are warm up and they get sticky on the road, it won't pill out. But there's a thing called ludicrous mode inside the Tesla and others, and it can actually eliminate the transmission, and you're going to go 0 to 100 as fast as pretty much that those electric motors can take you. But there's one problem. There's this thing called G's. Or G-force. You ever heard of that? The G-force is a measure of acceleration, not true force, and it is expressed through multiples of Earth's gravitational pull through 1 gram being with acceleration from the field of gravity. So what happens is, if we don't have a transmission or we don't have a stage of pulling us from one speed to another, it will begin to mess with your body. When you see a F-16 and it's flying, and before they can actually before they can actually dip like that, they got to turn upside down and then do it and go down as fast as possible. Because then the G-forces, when they turn upside down and they drive the plane upside down, G-forces, it will push them into the seat. and not into the roof, right? And then they hunker down. They have to train because the G forces and all this message is coming from the understanding that we are in when you're in a transition and you're looking for when you're looking for transformation, you're going to be going through a transition. And that transition will happen or need to happen in levels. That's the reason why you got to deconstruct your religious beliefs before you deconstruct your actual reality and understanding that you have something inside of you. It's been in you for years, and now we're at a moment and point in our lives, and we can really begin to understand something deeper, something more, something that is innate into who we are. I'm gonna keep that video up right there, so I'll remember to make sure I go back in so we can listen, and I can post that in Patreon. We're gonna go for a few seconds, maybe 60 seconds, and listen to a little bit of another one. I had some issues this evening, and so therefore it kind of messed with my time some, but I'll make sure I get that in Patreon. And this is a little bit about mastering the change, right? Just a little bit.
And virgin mothers and Pythagoras or Osiris or Isis and Horus and throughout Egyptian history and Babylonian history, and all of them were teachers, and all of them had 12 disciples, and all of them were miracle workers, and all of them were executed and then supposedly raised, and then we're supposed to have a second coming. It was really disappointing for me to find out that the Christian story is a repeat of many stories very similar, almost identical to it, that preceded it by as many as 1,000 years. 2,000, 3,000, and more. Now, you'd have to study to find all that out. And I wasn't trying to find that out. I was just studying basic Christian principles and doctrines of devils and demons and where all that came from. I know there's dark and light, and there's the dual consciousness of the planet and of physics and of the way we believe. It's hard not to believe in demons and devils and evil and a good God and a bad God, and both of them have power, and they're fighting in some cosmic conflict. A lot of it's superstitious, a lot of it's cultic and occultic. That means mystery. But we've been taught all this stuff, and so we, in the collective consciousness, have created a planet that's unstable. I'm not talking about geographically, even though there are earthquakes, and they were saying today on the news that Connecticut is experiencing earthquakes, and that was on nationwide CBS News because Connecticut's not used to earthquakes. I was born in Southern California, in San Diego, where I'm going to bury my godmother next week. And Andre's Crouch's memorial service is on a funeral is on Wednesday. I'm going to be at that as well. So plan to, at least. We're used to earthquakes, but not in Oklahoma. They've had an increase. The last several years, they've been having so many earthquakes in Oklahoma, they're now getting suspicious. Also recently, last week, they reported several in Irvine, Texas. This is strange. There's no explanation, especially in Connecticut. Here they say in Texas and Oklahoma, it may be the result of years of drilling into the earth subterraneously and pulling the oil out in millions and millions of barrels, and causing a lot of greed and covetousness and competition. And the collective consciousness has created tension on the planet. What's happening in France, the horrors of what's happening in Nigeria, with regard to the 2,000 or so that were killed, and with machetes, and most people actually distrust God or suspicion their God or the gods. There's millions of paranoid people in ways that we've never seen people paranoid before in all the religions. Paranoia can be defined as a mental condition characterized by delusions of persecution, victim consciousness, unwarranted jealousies, exaggerated self-importance. Many of us have that. typically elaborated into some organized disorder or organized system. We it may be some kind of chronic personality disorder that people experience either constantly. It could be drug induced, uh, drug abuse. It could be some kind of situation as serious as schizophrenia, in which a person loses touch with reality. Paranoia is suspicion and mistrust of people or their actions without evidence or justification. It's not just suspicion of, or mistrust of people or their actions, but when you don't have evidence or justification for it, that's a kind of schizophrenia or paranoia. Some of these suspicions are justifiable. There are reasons to distrust or mistrust some things or some people.
In this, he's stating and talking about a lot of the things that a person may experience or why they may experience it before giving the actual solution. If you go back earlier, this was 2015. If you go back to the video we just watched, that video was more related to the results. It was more related to, here's the issues, here's what you may be experiencing. That will be this video, kind of related even more to today, building up from 2010, 11, 12, building up to understanding that you have no choice for the most part but to deconstruct, or if you don't choose to rethink and reimagine or contemplate, understand, what happens is you're losing that opportunity that you may have. You're losing an opportunity. You're losing an opportunity that we are understanding now more than ever whenever you start looking at his information and his conversation and his talk on the expansion of consciousness, the expansion of who we are. All of a sudden, you might not be able to tune in. You might not be able to really feel it or really truly understand what he means or understand what you are actually capable of, right? You're capable. You're more capable than you can imagine. There's one last thing that I'm gonna give you a small glimpse to and this is something this is fresh. This is on the cutting floor. Cutting floor is a term that we would use in filmmaking. That kind of lets you in the inside, right? Of a conversation, or I'm sorry, cutting floor on the inside of a video, right? Of something that's been created. I want you to make sure I can get this set up correctly. Just listen to a little bit of this, and then I will let y'all go, because I know that I can keep you for a minute. Hopefully, okay, here we go. Well, I'm just looking to see how I can make this bigger. Bear with me. Here we go. Y'all got to make sure y'all can hear this, right? This is a conversation. Will it let me do it? Oh, come on, baby. Let me do it. Show system audio. I just hope you guys can hear it. Window. Just listen to a little bit of this.
Peek in the door, never cry. Is that me? To go out to find that all those compartments are in me. When Jesus says, "My Father's house are many mansions," he's saying many dimensions, many places, spaces, realms,
Hold
and
up.
reasons.
This is in my
logics
software.
and logistics, and we barely. If you ask me what I know most, it's like I know that I don't know much. That's what I know most. That I don't know much. I actually do know a lot, but I haven't given my self permission to know or acknowledge what I know. To ignore doesn't mean just to notice. Notice. We're the whole world in the Christian world refuses to know, make note of, or notice the obvious. It's in us, and then we live and experience, embrace, possess ourselves. We're busy trying to experience as everything but us. But my soul is a fascinating, fearfully, wonderfully made entity. And the closest to ever really knowing God. I've said this for years and offends some people. The closest you'll ever get to really, quote unquote, knowing God is knowing you. Both of you are and you aren't. Of course, who you aren't is nothing in this story. It's not appealing, but who you are is enough. You just get to know who you are. That's your infinite, which is unfinished and unfinishable stuff. The eternal, the ongoing, you know, eternity, past, present, future. The much synapse is this. You say, "I am." You're releasing all that the deity and divinity that you are. God's name, title God. Nobody knows God's name. Because when Moses said, like, what are you? I am that I am. First he tell my I am teacher. That's cool. I am. You remember Moses? Yeah. Sometimes talking about the bush. That won't even burn up or burn out, just burn. And so I can't look at you. I can't quench the flame that you are. Who's talking to me? Is no attraction to the fact that the flame won't go out, but I hear a voice. That Greek word voice is so phonic. You're phonics coming out of the flame. What is this? What's going on? And then he says, "Well, this is who I am." Love that.
What keeps us from it? What do you think is some of the big blocks that keeps us from discovering our true self?
I think we're afraid of what we don't know. We want to know what we don't know. We're afraid of the unknown, so we don't go there. If people, the biggest fear right now in America is we don't know what's next. We're not even sure what it's been. We do a few highlights things about history. Because we're now at the end, we're starting to know what's been. This whole critical race theory. Criticism. They don't want to know that because they're afraid of what the past is. Well, if you're afraid of the past, you should be afraid of the present. You're afraid of the future. So knowledge, knowing, ignosis is ignoring. So that really means ignorance. It's ignoring. It's not knowing. So we don't have to follow believe. Faith is in every a person that gets on a tram or what's the underground things. A person that gets on a subway has faith, or who sits on a park bench or a bus stop bench, just flop your butt down on the chair. You don't check it. You have faith that it's going to hold you up, and
I think the audio issue is the fact that you were hearing the echo because it was coming through my microphone. Because that is just in some edit. That's just in some software that of a video that I'm sitting there with my phone, and I have quite a few videos where we would just philosophize and have conversations And one of the things that you could find is Bishop would talk about a lot of the things related to what people would talk about or ask. And a lot of those things had to do with the gospel of inclusion, had to do with the Bible, had to do with his past experience, main experience. Very few people wanted to actually have conversations about self-actualization, about understanding who you are, about moving into a space of connecting to your higher self. As you deconstruct and you want to have that transformation to this God-like expression, there's a transition. And right now we all sit in somewhat of transitional states. And some states of transition, you may be repeating and doing the things that you shouldn't do. You may be saying the things that you shouldn't say because you haven't had enough of the lessons to understand that you can't have negative talk in your life, right? You can't have, oh my God, here I got to pay that bill. Oh my God, here it is. I'm always spending money. Oh my God, I'm broke. Oh my God, there's always something going on. Oh my God, what's happening in the government? Oh my God, like when you actually are in that state of constant issue after issue, the issues can be real. The issues can be real. Most of the issues are actually things that you have to address. Diagnosis and prognosis, right? And what do you do with the prognosis? Some things can be in your life right now today, and it can say, this is what's real. And this is real because this is what is here. But the only way you're going to be able to move into a higher state, or the only way you're going to be able to see yourself through that transformation is going through the transition. And as I was telling you about a car transmission, you don't go 0 to 60 or 0 to 100 without lowering the gears down, without lowering the temperament of that engine, right? So that you can build up to that speed. Right now, you're just going through the gears. And what you have to do when you go through those gears, that's your meditation, right? And that's your daily prayer, may say. That's your meditations. That's your listening to expanded consciousness. That's your listening to vlogs and blog posts, and that's your books that you're reading. And if you're not doing any of those things, especially meditating, getting your mind to accept and to realize and to awaken and to calm down. And as you calm that mind down, now you're doing something guided, a guided meditation that is actually helping you dance between the running mind and the thinking mind and the observer, the spirit, the essence of who you are. Being able to calm that mind and calm the body, and then begin to shift the mind and body into a whole new realm, a whole new space, a whole new you that is already here. It is you as you, but you might be going through the transitions like a transmission for that transformation. And the question you might say is, how do you know, or how do I know that I'm at what level I am, right? How do I know? How do I know that I'm progressing and I'm moving forward? How do I know? You have some level of joy. You have levels of joy, unspeakable joy. As they say, the world didn't give it. I'm just looking to see in this. I can see Deidre down there, so I want to see if she's completing it. You know, the world to give it, and the world can't take it away. You have to have some levels of moving your mind into joy when you don't want to be in joy as you go through. Because what's that going to do for you? I promise you, that's going to raise the vibration and frequency that we exist at. I'm not just talking woo-woo. Delta, beta, alpha. Those are frequencies that we operate from. And we know the brain operates from these frequencies when you sleep. And there's frequencies, right, that you can actually be in within the mind state, within the brain state, that are automatically pushing you at a higher state of consciousness. Higher state of consciousness meaning that you can receive things from the consciousness. That song or that idea or that healing, a lot of times that comes, you can be open to that when you're about to fall asleep, in between being awake and going to sleep. There was one of the people like Ben Franklin or one of those, Thomas Jefferson, I think. He would actually have a ball or something in his hand, and he would have a pen, and he's wanting to put himself into a relaxed enough state and thinking about that and concentrating on it until he almost fell asleep and put that ball in his hand. And he knows whenever that ball hits the ground, bam, and he drops it, he gets up and he starts writing. Because he knows that his brain and his mind is in a higher state of being able to contact or connect to higher consciousness. Did you know that? Just as Bishop said, you, excuse me, you have the ability inside you right now to connect to something that you were born with, something that was and is a part of you. But a lot of times it's the fog. It's the fog, and it's the systems of development. Is Bishop said, the closest you can get to God is knowing you. And the thing is we are afraid of the unknown, and we are afraid to begin to know deeper about who we are. And so we try to cover things up. We try to cover things up with religion. We try to cover it up and say no, because if you go too deep or if you go too, absolutely. Now, some religions are built upon self-discovery and internal processes and things of that nature. Some of them, but dogma still can actually begin to even work on those things. But here we are. Here we are. I don't know if anybody had any epiphanies or downloads, but what I want to tell you before I end this stream is that tomorrow at 7:30, I'm investing a lot of time into Insight Timer. And of course, I have some, what do you call it? Meditations that are already on Insight Timer, and I put them in the Patreon. And you might be able to find more, but I don't know if this is my dedicated time, but I'm working different times. So you have to make sure you follow me, download the app, follow me on here, because I really like the space of having 30 million people that are already there, are already kind of ready to receive and open. And it helps with me with processing. And so tomorrow you can see that I will be on Insight Timer tomorrow at 7:30 Central. And I have some talk, but through the talk, I'll be helping you meditate and try to move you into a higher state, right? Of that moment of being. I know that, and you know, we know that this moment, this time, this space is for us, as us, right? Whew. Deep breaths, deep breaths, deep breaths. We do this because we know we have the running thoughts and running mind, and things are just happening around us. And I think one of the highest states of who we are, highest states of who we can be, is being able to, when we say go within, literally, we're talking about going within, from the mind, and the mind to the body, the rest of the body. All is mind, is one of the principles of Hermetes. As above, so below. Go within, go without. I believe it was the Apostle Paul when he was writing to his people and not to us. He was talking about the renewing of the mind. That's something that we can take in and use to constantly work on renewing the mind. Some of us need to let our minds go. When I say let our minds go, I'm talking about the stuff that's in the mind, the stuff that's in your day to day. What you may be experiencing, what you may be going through. It's okay if you let it go for a moment. Just a moment. And so moments will turn to minutes, turn to hours. And as you take those moments, it will turn into one big life of understanding, more understanding than misunderstanding. Whatever you're experiencing or whatever you're going through, you may not know what to do, but I'm going to tell you one thing for sure. If you learn how to feel how you want to feel, feel how you want to feel. If you want to feel joy, feel joy. Put a smile on your face. Say yes. Yes to love. Yes to self-love. check in with your whole body, scan it, your toes, and move all the way up through your whole body. Your whole nervous system, and let it know that we're okay in this moment. We're okay. And as you learn how to be okay, and you learn how to shift, and when I say shift, sometimes you might have to think about something a little bit more joyful, something a little bit more pleasant, something a little bit more peaceful. I'm watching a show called Dark Matter, and they have figured out how to go into what they call is the superposition, which is the state of multiple realities, but these realities are formulated in the mind. And if you go into the box, you take the appropriate drugs that alters the brain. When you open the door, your mind has to be clear, so clear, because it's going to switch that reality. In a way, it's true. You can live a whole nother reality. Think I'm lying? Rob a bank and see if your reality don't change. Instantly, you make a decision. Boom. Now's the time to make a decision and make decisions. So you don't have to switch your reality to be in prison, but you're switching your reality to be out of the prison of living like we've been told. But begin to live and unfold the divine abundance in the divine life through the hurt and heartache. Deep breaths, high as you can, and release. All right, Miss D, is there anything out there that we should look at? Any comments or anything like that?
No, no, everybody was pretty much going along throughout. Let's see.
Hey,
Miss
Miss
Marie
Marie.
Miss Marie made a good comment.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people are afraid that what they believe isn't really true. Like, may not be rooted in fact. I think maybe what she's alluding to, because I mean, people believe what they believe in is their reality. But when we really start digging, you can hear Sasha, guys. If you do, I apologize. Let's see. We had a couple of interesting infiltrators come in tonight. I had to block a couple comments, but just so that we don't debate here. Like, we're not debating things here. So if people start, don't worry. If you see people just start throwing up 47 scriptures, trying to correct us, we're not here to debate anybody. Okay.
You got plenty of places to go.
You can do that somewhere else. Yes. Thank you. Yeah, we don't do that here. We don't debate. We challenge our belief systems so that we can come into knowing.
Here's what I'll tell you. There are many platforms that are essentially designed for that. They're designed for people that want to be in the Christian spaces, that actually try to just, figure out, hopefully that's what they're doing, on what they believe is true and what not true. And my thing is, no matter what I believe, I can go find a circle I can go find a group. I can go find a group that would like the most nastiest, craziest, sickest thing ever. You could go find anything. And it's not that I wanted to build a silo, but I'm telling you this. In the occult, as he was talking about, this is the hidden knowledge. Many of these things that we will talk about and what we want to go is not for everybody. And I'm okay with it. If you don't like talking about certain things, guess what you do? You might go find a place that'd like to, or if you want to debate, you go find places to debate. And if a person ever had a conversation or wanted to have a conversation about differences, we may have that. But what I know is there are people that are suffering from religious abuse, spiritual bypassing. People are suffering from catastrophic psychological, debilitating illnesses based on people wanting to debate scripture. And the thing is 99% of the people that throw up scripture have zero depth, because to argue science and to argue elements of spirituality with scripture is like trying to count stars, and every star you count, another one's going to appear. And so there are lots of spaces that you can go and you can do that. And I'm open to people disagreeing. But if we want transformation, we can't keep doing the same things that we've been doing repeatedly, because that would make you and I what we call insane. To be sane, would it be to have a conversation, especially with people about certain things that have don't necessarily depth about, especially expanded consciousness or anything to do with consciousness, or want to ask questions about consciousness? That would be almost defeating, right, of the whole, the purposes. And and I'll end, but I'm gonna tell you, there was times that Bishop had to do it because where Bishop came from. But a lot of people, even people that agree with Bishop to this day, missed and miss what Bishop was saying. Bishop wasn't saying anything. Bishop wasn't saying anything, for the most part, that hasn't been said. A lot of it was hidden knowledge. A lot of it was hidden knowledge, and a lot of it was hidden information that not everybody had access to. Mm-hmm. A lot of this information was only available to people that have families that are extremely successful. Some of this information was only available to people that were a part of Masons and people that were a part of what we call our societies with secrets. It's not secret society, otherwise you wouldn't know what the society is. It is a society of people that come together and they keep their secrets, and they would keep their secrets about understanding who you are and understanding the manipulation of mind and understanding that you can actually be free and have peace. Thank you. I appreciate everyone that was here, and thank you, D. You know, I'm okay. You know, people say something here or there, but some people are disputatious, and so they're not necessarily even argumentative. They're just like, "Ooh, oh, this ain't right. Oh no, you ain't talking about that." You know, and they don't understand that there's a difference between Bishop and I. I'm a metaphysician. I'm deeply tied to the mystics. I'm deeply tied to, you know, all of that stuff, and so therefore I'm not gonna have a biblical debate, especially I'm not gonna talk about Bible to people that I feel like you don't have enough depth outside of the Bible to have a conversation. Versus, you know, and that is I say dialogue and not monologue. Monologue is when I put a bunch of captions up and just let you read them. A dialogue is when I want to grow and I want to hear what you got to say, and I can maybe disagree with what you say, but still allow for it to be. I'm totally okay. I am not anti-Christian. I'm not necessarily anti-dogma for you, because I can't get you in or out of it. That's on you. But I am for the ones that want to not have the dogma and want to be free. We need to have our own sounding boards. We need to have our own space, and ultimately realize that we're moving out of trouble in transition for transformation.
That's it.
The show is essentially expanded consciousness, but I like this word, beyond belief. Beyond belief. Unitarian church that Carlton went to, their slogan is love beyond belief. Love beyond belief. Can you love beyond belief? Can you really try to love beyond belief? Let's go.
Very good stuff.
Tomorrow, make sure I see you.
Is it tomorrow for Insight Timer, right?
You can join the community. There could be hundreds of people from all over the world, but it's really cool when the expanded conscious family show up and we're all, you know, get 3 or 4 or 5 y'all in there. It's definitely not for simpletons. I love you, Miss Holly. Oh, you're so sweet, dear. Well, I think that's a wrap. I kept y'all for a long time because of my thing messed up, but I plan on hopefully getting that fixed. It is 7:30 Central. 7:30 Central.
8:30 Eastern.
8:30 Eastern. And the topic is something. It's on there. I forgot. It's
put it up. We'll put it up.
It'll be in Patreon, and it's something related to it's an honest session about burnout, self-abandonment, and learning. Oh man, learning to your true self. That is need to be fixed. All right, love y'all. We'll see y'all soon. And don't forget, there it is, Expanded Consciousness Community. Go to patreon.com/expanded conscious community. Right there. Make sure you join. There's over 50 people that I like to keep contact with personally. And of course, Deidre's popped up the Cash App. I appreciate all donations and gifts and things of that nature. People can talk about how it supports the stream and it supports the software. As I'm going through transition and building this up, it's also like gas and electric and mortgage. And so this is not just like extra.
Yes. Livelihood, living.
This is actual going all in as much as I can. Of course, I have some clients. But this is really pushing the envelope, understanding like this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And knowing that, through the transition, right? There's gears in that transmission, right? I know that I have to, hey, don't get it twisted, y'all. I'm learning more about myself. I'm learning more about like being grateful and thankful. I'm learning more about how to shifting myself, shifting what I believe. I'm learning more about how I need to work on. Hey, this is one, working on your limited belief systems. I have to work on my limited belief systems. And some of those limited belief systems, I'm not going to start again. But some of those limited beliefs, yes, I am. Some of those limited belief systems are stuck in our subconscious mind. And we got to get those things out, and we got to write down what is blocking me. What is blocking me? If I'm trying to achieve something, what are the things that are blocking me? This is part of this this book. It's going to take me a minute. I don't know. Hopefully by next year, Beyond Belief, the integrated path for spirituality, science, and you. Right. So I'm not just going to write a book and then not have any experience of saying, like, as you read this transformation, this is you're going to have an experience. What are your limits? What is limiting you from accessing the higher you or accessing what you desire? Right. I'm looking to build something. I'm building something that is like, that has big vision, big dreams, from documentaries and films to education and things of that nature. So this is $1 million idea or whatever. This is no jokes. So in order to do that, I have to work on myself. I have to work on my limited belief systems. I have to work on something beyond belief, right? If anybody out there that wants to build something, anybody out there trying to build something, maybe you want to actually work for expanded consciousness. And if you work for expanded consciousness as a coach or doing something, if I got a multi-million-dollar organization where we're building and doing stuff from films and all that, and I'm not going to be cashing in myself. That's the whole entire system that we have that moves, that there's the Monroe Institute. Look up the Monroe Institute. It's been around for years. It deals with consciousness. It's been around since 1970. There's locations of the Monroe Institute in probably 7 countries. They probably have 4 locations in America. Retreats and retreat centers. And nothing against anything to do with the non-ethnic partners, but I'm here to say that there's no color that you can see that is on the membership. There might be some people that are involved, and I'm not saying that they're anti, but here I am. I mean, like, we can still use one that I believe is connected to what I've connected to, very similar to what I like, some of the things that got going on. But I'm here with ultimately Beyond Belief, expanding your consciousness, looking at your belief systems and questioning them, and being able to write down what is limiting you, what is holding you back, what is in a limited belief system. And then as you write that down, you want to write down what it would be if you didn't have this. these blocks, right? Come on, y'all. I love you. I love you. Right? Y'all, hey, thank you. Thank every single one of you just for showing up. It's not, I'm different. And, I remember being on Bishop's stream, and, when Bishop can get 100 people on stream at times, it could be disappointing for Bishop after he'd done it over and over again, because Bishop spoke to hundreds of thousands of people. He spoke to hundreds of thousands of people at one given time, just at his church. And then to get on the internet and not think like, man, I want to reach. He was like, always wondering, I want to reach millions. I want to reach him. And part of that is ego. And my thing is like, you know what? I'd rather reach the 50 people that are wholeheartedly bona fide, freeing themselves, loving themselves, and really trying to connect to this message and these words, and they're actually bringing it out of them, and they're actually elevating, and they're actually begin to process and move their life to a whole nother level than having a whole bunch of people that are here for the fad, here just because it's cool, right? I think it's just more important that I just focus on personal growth, me growing. Like, I need to grow, right? And so I appreciate all y'all that, have stopped through, come through, and that has supported me in this moment and in this month, this Christmas month. And so I'll talk to Deidre. Maybe I want to have probably some special times for Patreon, and, maybe some other special things that I can do for any of my contributors. So love y'all. Appreciate y'all. Looking forward to seeing y'all tomorrow. Looking forward to see you next week. Also, you're not going to want to miss next week. Mr. Suttonathan, he is going to be with us next week. This is a 70-year young Black American man from Detroit. I like those words because Detroit has a real strong spiritual essence to it through Black history. And this book, for those who can hear, this was spiritual and practical ammunition for the 21st century to open humanity's eyes to the coming global events that are taking place now and in the future. Open the mind space. Perception is a mirror, and what I look on is my state of mind reflecting outward. The deepest thinking we can do is to meditate on the thinking process itself. Oh Lord, let my capabilities exceed my limitations. Right? Death is the birth of all inquiry. Death makes us ask questions. It makes us think. It should make us examine what we call life. An unexamined life is not worth living. How can we really live without embracing death? I mean, this is his, on breathing, on protection. And so you're going to be in for a treat, because when he and I get together, man, it's all about that transformation. And he says, hello. Yes, sir. We appreciate you. I love you, brother. I look forward to having you next week. And guys, if you don't follow on YouTube, if you haven't subscribed to YouTube, I'm so close to getting my 1,000 people. I know it's something that I need to figure out, but I ain't worried about it right now. But just make sure you subscribe on YouTube if you haven't subscribed, so I can get through my I'm trying to get my monetization. I think I have to start over, but whatever. I'm here. It is all good. It is all good. All right, y'all. Y'all take it easy. Bye-bye.
rows of sermons and signs, told who I was, what to believe, how to walk the line. Kneeled at the altar, searching for grace, but all I found was fear wrapped up in faith. But something deep inside kept calling me. A whisper in the dark said you are free. Not in the rules, not in the chains, but in the love that calls my name. Learning to love myself, trust myself, even when I think I'm wrong. Learning to be set free, learning to be, learning just to be. No longer bound by the weight of my past. Took off the guilt, let it burn in the ash. I don't need permission to stand in the light. God ain't a place, God is inside. God is inside. Something deep inside keeps calling me. A whisper in the dark says you are free. Not in the rules, not in the chains, but in the love that knows my name. Love